Robert, we had Robert Johnson, head of my listing staff, is with us today. We had Hyperion Homes come out this week and talk to us about a product that they're discussing with us. It's a new company, and I was pretty excited hearing about some of the new things going on in the investor world. For those that haven't listened to our show for very long, a year and 2 years ago, we did a lot of work with hedge funds. Some of the big hedge funds that were buying homes, we were an outlet for them to help find them consumers to sell homes to them directly, and then to help them purchase homes. And there's some new companies kind of making some moves that we're excited about. And one of those moves is they're hedge funds that are using tenant-driven buying models. So what did you think about their approach? It seemed kind of revolutionary.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting, especially because obviously in our industry we get a lot of people that aren't necessarily ready to purchase homes. I'm sure George runs into that too. It was almost like like the consumer can go out, find the home that they want now in order to have first dibs on it later. It was really interesting.
So basically, and if you're one of those people that's sitting out there listening to the show right now, and maybe you can't qualify for a mortgage, you need a year or two, but everything else looks good. You got good income, but your credit's a little short, or you're moving to the area, you're not quite sure you want to buy or rent yet. This company, and if you have questions about it, you can call us at our office, 855-970-WFLA. Pretty easy phone number to remember, 855, and then the station you're listening to. You can also email us, sales, S-A-L-E-S, at theDuncanDuo.com. And if you're interested in this program, what they basically do is they have someone who, let's say they had a short sale a year or two ago, and their credit score just isn't good enough to qualify, or there's something off in their profile, they can't buy yet. What this company is doing, and they're working with us to do it, is they're taking that tenant, qualifying them for a certain amount of rent and a purchase price, and going out and buying the home for the tenant to rent back from them. The tenant then has a guaranteed purchase price that they can buy it from them every year. And the guaranteed purchase price is a 5% jump in price each year. Well, our market's appreciating greater than that. So if you're a tenant out there and you're like, oh, I'll wait a year or two to buy, this is a program where you could essentially get the home that you want now, lock in a price that is going to be lower than market value by the time 2 years is down the line, and on top of that, you get a home that you want. They'll even do modifications. I thought it was amazing. They'll do modifications to the home.
Well, yeah, and it was really interesting because you're the one that picks the house. So once they approve you as a resident, the rep would be very upset.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to use tenant. That's right.
But as soon as they approve you as a resident, they look at your income, they give you a budget of how much you can rent, and you actually go out with an agent and you pick the house.
Right.
Which is
now they do the negotiation,
yes,
and they do the numbers, and they buy the home, and they pay the cash, but you're in control of picking the home, so it's kind of like a head start on being able to buy a home. And of course, there's no obligation for you to buy this home. They're not a lender. They're literally an investor that's buying it and renting a home back. But they're a tenant-driven model versus some of the hedge funds that we're buying and then finding a tenant. These guys are finding a well-qualified tenant that very likely will be able to buy in a year or two, hope that the tenant buys that home, but certainly if not, then they continue to rent it. So there's no obligation on that resident to buy the home.
The only obligation was 1 year's rent, which was great. And what was also great is he said somebody could use it as a test drive. People relocating to this area, which is very, very common. They want a single-family home or a townhome. They can come back and they can basically pick what they want and test drive it, and then decide if they want to buy it.
Well, and it's a great resource for our home sellers too, because you have our home sellers that kind of have a property that maybe a renter's in it. Then this group will buy it and then still rent it back to the tenant that's in there. It's also a resource in that it gives us more exposure because they're buying the home after they find the tenant. So tenants or residents, so to speak, that are out there searching can now open it up and look at homes for sale, not just homes for rent. And then this group buys it and rents it back to them. So it's really a phenomenal opportunity. So we'll continue talking about that, kind of some news about seller assisted financing as well, making a comeback, and how that relates to this new investment group that's coming to town after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show.